That's Wizkid featuring Thames with Essence, taking us 12 minutes before the top dial. Your favorite song, Gidi? One of them. Okay, sure. Your favorite's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I've got a lot of favorites. But this is probably on my playlist. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the time I went to school with Thames?
Yes, you did.
I did?
Yes. Hey, she slept on the job. You had one job.
One job. One job to do.
One job.
In fact, I'll tell you about the time I went to school with Thames. Yeah? Because I think it's significant. So Thames and I went to the same varsity.
Okay, where?
Monash.
Okay.
I had no idea though. I found out 10 years later. But the point of the matter is, Thames and I were in the same space. That's the message here, right?
Okay.
My job was simple: infiltrate, yeah, and ultimately get a meeting with Drake. But now we're here, and I'm talking to you guys. Guess how my life is going? Everybody
Started from the bottom.
still at the bottom, apparently.
This is God's plan, yeah.
Apparently. All right. So, Lufefe, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Really do appreciate your time this morning.
How are
You're
you?
the F1 guy, yeah.
I am.
Yeah, but you do so much more than just that. I wouldn't want to box
Well,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
sport level overall.
this is my passion.
Your passion, your
F1.
space. All right, so what do you make of testing? Yeah, going into testing before the season starts. Are you a fan? Because I feel like you can really judge an F1 guy based on whether or not he loves testing. Yeah.
Well, I love testing, but I don't read much into it.
Ah, all right. Okay,
Yeah, I
fair.
mean, I think everyone is sandbagging. No one's going to show their hand in pre-season.
Yeah, for sure.
And let the other teams prepare
For sure.
a counter.
Okay, so
Yeah.
with that being said, what have you made of what you've seen so far?
A
Nothing,
lie.
I suppose.
Clearly
Yeah.
it's a lie.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
no.
a lie.
Well, there's been a lot of talking points this season. The porpoising.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen, they've dropped the suspension on
Yeah.
the cars. So what's happening now is like they're doing a head bump
Yeah, the car's
in the
bumping,
car.
yeah.
So I'm worried about their necks, with the G-force and everything. So that's the first thing, but that was more in the Spanish test. And then in this test yesterday, Pierre Gasly was quickest. Obviously we can't really watch because they broadcast it partially on the F1 TV Pro app. So I don't know yet,
Yeah.
For me, I think it's more about what's happening off the track. That's been more interesting than what's happening on.
Indeed.
And then obviously Mercedes came with the side pod yesterday, which has everyone's tongues wagging. And Red Bull say it looks illegal.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
No, so, but Christian wanted to deny saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, he denied saying it, and then there was another article that said, but he did
He
say it.
did though.
So I was just like, did he actually say it? But I trust he probably didn't say that.
He said it.
He definitely
He probably
said
said
that.
Knowing him.
Christian Horn is the same guy, who went and bought, who went in disguise apparently, yeah, and bought a voucher to go tour the Mercedes factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could see what was going on the inside. I don't know if you
In
ever saw that.
Brackley, I didn't
Yeah,
hear
you
that.
guys hear that? Yeah,
No.
he went to, I don't know, it was one of those charitable things that they do, they raise money so people can buy things. Christian Horner went in disguise, bought the thing, and then tried to enter the Mercedes factory.
I mean, that's what
How
we see
low
in
can you
football as
go?
well, yeah? When we see the coaches watch and actually go to the stadiums of their
I
opponents.
suppose, yeah.
But I want to know, you
Marcelo
saying that
Bielsa.
with Formula, with the Red Bull then saying that those side pods look very, very legal. What do you make of them? I looked at them, I was just like, that looks like fences.
No, you know what? That fence thing, that's not the side pod. They use that to check aerodynamics. So the side pod is like, I think they call it an Excalibur. It's like that little step on the side. So I saw a meme somewhere saying it looks like chocolate that's melted in the sun.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah, the side pod situation is quite interesting, and the car looked a bit different in color as well. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's
almost
a lighter grey.
a lighter kind of grayish color. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about. I mean, this season was exciting, or is still exciting, because of the fact that there was some regulation changes going into it. Yeah.
Yes.
We've seen a little bit of those regulation changes. You spoke about porpoising. Yesterday, I also heard that Mercedes had an issue with the back of the car. I'm not sure what the word is for it. The back of the car.
Yes.
When accelerating, starting to hit the ground.
Yes, the rear wing.
The rear wing. What's that issue about? And
Well-
it seems like a simple issue to rectify, just from me, no mechanic at all, but it seems like something quite straightforward.
Well, the way I see it, this new side pod has even dropped the suspension of the car further. So I think the reason they're touching, because with the new rules, what they've done is they've got the cars lower for more downforce. So now with that ultra thin side pod, I think when they're cornering, it starts making the sparks on the side, you know. But I don't think it has any impact on the speed of the car or the balance or anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, it's still testing, so I think they're trying it out. Doesn't mean next weekend when the season starts, it'll be the same.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kim Magnussen, right? He's one of the big stories going around this morning. You spoke about what's happening off, right? The track being a lot more exciting than what's happening on it. He's one of the off the track, on the track kind of conversations.
Yes.
Rehired by Haas, just after letting go of Nikita Mazepin.
Surprise, surprise. Well, the irony of that is Haas let him go to accommodate Mazepin, who was coming with financial backing from his Russian oligarchs, of course, and they used the money to develop the car for this year, because last year Haas didn't do any during the season development. So they've used the resources that came with Mazepin only to let him go, so he's not even going to be part of the project. So Kevin Magnussen, I kind of like him, but he was one of the drivers that was not taking the knee. So I've sort of taken an exception for drivers who took that stance, because initially he did take the knee, and then he was like, you know what, I don't have to do this anymore.
I suppose we know your feelings with Max Verstappen then,
No secrets there.
Not taking the knee.
Do you know what the thing is that I think we have, because it's a conversation that's been ongoing and just getting different people's perspectives, and we spoke about it this morning. What you feel about sportsmen who are from Russia or have affiliation with the Russian government being excluded from sporting codes, and obviously with what happened within Formula One with Mazepin, obviously that is something that we've seen. But what is your personal take on it?
Ooh, this is going to be controversial. Personally, I think it's totally unfair. I'm not going to say I agree with what is happening in Russia and Ukraine, but I don't agree with the reaction of the world, because we've seen the Americans bombing Iraq, Afghanistan, but we've never heard of any sanctions on them, you know? So for now, sports people, sports venues, I mean, so much has happened. The Champions League final was going to be in St. Petersburg. It's moved to the Parc Saint-Pras. So there's just so many things that are totally not related to the war that are now impacting people who are not even involved. So I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a shifting of the goalpost somewhat, and I understand your position. I think not as controversial as you believe, because a lot of people share your sentiments, particularly people who watch closely in terms of how the West moves and how they're now moving with the narratives on what's happening between, or rather the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Look, on a political level, I would never want to advocate for war anywhere, right?
Exactly.
So I understand the pressure on, let's remove the athletes, put pressure on Putin to say, all right, maybe this was the wrong decision. Whether or not he's the type of guy to look at himself in the mirror and say we made the wrong call here, I doubt. My feeling on it is it sucks for the athletes. I can imagine, because Nikita Mazepin, different. Obviously, he's got direct ties through his father to the top. Other athletes, not so much. You know, you're just a byproduct of someone's decisions in an office somewhere, and now your career has been put on hold. Your dreams, aspirations. We don't know how long this will take. We're going into an Olympic year, World Cup years, and now the national teams won't be able to participate. So it's a very layered conversation, I think. Yeah.
But now with Mazepin and his new foundation, that
interesting
one,
enough,
I feel like it's like, well. How do we fight this fight that's being thrown to us? What is your take on that? Do you think it will actually unite the Russian athletes to come together?
It should, because I mean, there's so many Russians doing things all over the world, you know? So, you know what? It's a worthy cause at the end of the day, because, like I say, I mean, it's athletes, it's politics. So, I support him, I guess.
Yeah. Let's hone in specifically on Nikita Mazepin.
Yes.
Are you one of the people who saw what was happening with him at Haas and felt bad for him, but I don't want to say understood, because I know your position. Would you have preferred Haas said nothing, given, of course, who he is? And I'm talking about him in particular, because of his relationship.
Oh, his family.
Yeah, through his father and his family to President Vladimir Putin. What was your position on the stance that Haas took? And also, let's talk about Kevin Magnussen. And we also spoke about Petropoldi. Say his name.
Which one?
One of the other guys who were potentially going in to Haas, his name was being thrown around quite a bit.
Oh, Enzo Fittipaldi.
That's the name I'm looking for.
Yes.
But, compare and contrast the two of them, Kevin Magnussen and Fittipaldi. But before that, talk to us about Mazepin.
Okay, look, let's bring the example closer to home.
Yeah.
So, if Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, declared war on Lesotho, and Patrice Motsepe's son was driving for a team or whatever, and then he got banned, would you think that's right?
I'll defer to my colleague, you do?
No.
Exactly.
No.
I agree with you. Yeah.
The kid has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he's being marginalized.
Yeah. The kid has nothing to do with it.
I guess we know your answer.
I think it was okay for them to say that let's not raise the Russian flag, right? That I was okay with. But now to totally exclude people, that is a problem.
Issues. I hear you. All right, so Kevin Magnussen comes in. Obviously, you didn't like his position on the knee thing that was happening.
Yes.
It was up and down with who took the knee, who didn't take the knee. It was all very chaotic. To compare, who would you have preferred, if you had a preference at all, going into that hot seat?
In all true honesty, the Alpine test driver, Oscar Piastri, the Aussie, he's bloody brilliant. He's the current F2 champion. He won the F3 championship before that, and I think Formula Ford before that in Europe. I thought he would get an opportunity to get an F1 drive this year before maybe replacing Fernando Alonso in the Alpine F1 team next season. So for me, he was my first choice. Enzo Fittipaldi, his grandfather is a world champion, so they've got a long history in F1. I like the family. I mean, even his grandfather's brother was an F1 driver, so he would have been my second choice. Magnussen, he's been in F1 before, he had his opportunity. He drove for McLaren even, and I don't think he took it with both hands, leave the politics aside. So for me, I feel like it's a recycle, yet we should be blooding new talent that's coming up, younger, fresher faces.
Yeah, absolutely would agree with you. So the season starts next week. We're not making too much of testing. We're not making too much of it now. We haven't made too much of it at any point really. We kind of let the chips fall as they may when the racing starts. But with that being said though, what are your expectations going into this new season? There were conversations around would Hamilton return at some point, people forecasting his potential retirement off the back of what happened last season. He has come back. Your expectations for what happens right at the top this season?
Well, I was sitting here across Tigeled on the 27th of January telling her that Lewis will never quit. Lewis, he's been facing this adversity, but not in the public domain. And he's actually alluded to it in some of his narrative. It's not something that he dwells on, but he has told us about this. Now that it's come to light, it's new to us. That's why we think maybe now he will retire possibly or whatever, but he's a fighter, and had he given up, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is now, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now, So I knew Lewis was not going to quit, and I don't want him to. Yesterday, a friend of mine, I was posting about the no war post where he was not in the photograph, and then I was referring back because, what I've realized, social media has so many people who are oppressive based on gender, based on race and all of that, and it's so terrible. And when you look at these people, it's like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and then you're like, where did you learn this? It's so bad. So they started having a go at him, saying no, he's in Paris on the, catwalk or fashion week or whatever, that's why he's not in the photo. And then I was like, maybe he just remembered that half of these men in this photograph didn't take the knee just last season, And then they had a go at me, but I just knew Lewis is not going to give up. But anyway, the DM from my friend was like, and you're still going to support the sport? So I said to him, it's like rugby in South Africa and cricket. It used to be an all-white sport. Now, rugby, the last World Cup winning squad is majority black. So if we just fold our hands and do nothing, we'll lose. But if we continue the fight, I even went to a larger extent and said, NBA used to be an all-white sport, boxing, but now, you know, blacks are dominating in those sports now, and that's because they never gave up the good fight. So we are coming for everything.
Yeah. Must be tough being Lewis Hamilton, yeah? You just want to drive and be really good, but now there is a cause. That's so much bigger than any championship you could win that you have to fight for consistently. So, we wait and see. The 20th of this month of March is when we have the first race of the season. I know there's a lot of excitement around Formula One. But while we wait, though, if testing isn't cutting it for you and that's not your thing and you're not interested in narratives around what's happening with the test and who's doing what, then Drive to Survive is back, yeah? The Netflix series is back. You can sit home and watch it all live. Now, I do believe, I've never watched Drive to Survive, I must admit.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're missing.
I don't know how I let it pass me by, and then I just felt like, listen, it's gone now, it's too late.
I'm
going to be having
up,
season 1 conversations
here
with people on season 4, let me let it pass. But I do believe season 4 will hone a little bit deeper on what happened last season, yeah?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Each season reviews the season holistically.
All right.
So good. Season 1, which was 2018, was about the 2018 season, etc., yeah.
Okay, brilliant. You must be excited for that, right?
I am excited. You know what? I actually got mixed feelings because I know it's going to be so exciting and then it's going to be an anticlimax at the end. What I'm interested to see is how they're going to package it, the whole thing, and how much, because Drive to Survive is more about what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I want to see what they're going to show us about the incidents that happened at Abu Dhabi in December.
Honestly, man, just listen. Get a Netflix. Anyone got a password they want to share with me? Netflix password? Anybody willing to share?
I'm also a tenant.
Or we all renting somewhere. One of us are renting somewhere. Oh, jeez Louise. All right, well, I may have to make a date with you. Maybe
we can do that. Yeah? We can do that.
All right, good. Season 4 sounds quite exciting. But Lufefe, thanks so much for coming on, man. Really do appreciate your time. You've been a good sport to come on here today. We've had issues with the lights, load shedding, etc., but you've stuck around. Really do appreciate your time. So where to from here? What are you excited for this weekend, given the fact that, of course, the fast stuff hasn't really started yet? What do you spend your weekends like, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, you know what? I've got back-to-back meetings because we're prepping for our content strategy for this season on my channel, Motozar TV.
Yes, sir.
Please follow and subscribe. We're on YouTube, TikTok, which we weren't in on previous seasons, and Twitter, of course. But our main content platform has been Instagram until now, but that's going to change. So we've got a whole lot of improvements that we're going to be rolling out. So I have back-to-back meetings the whole weekend in preparation for next weekend, of course, and the remainder of the season. Of course, we've also got the F1 paddock viewing, which we do at 011 by the Bahrain in Santon. I want to invite you guys maybe for the opening Grand Prix. So what basically we do there is just watch F1 in the community of people who are fans. So that's going to be really exciting. We just clinched the new sponsor.
wants to recruit us as petrol heads. That's what he's doing.
So we've got a new sponsor, Schweppes, who's come on board.
Oh wow, brilliant.
So at least we are making strides, picky.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. I know I've heard of events like this that F1 people are putting together. The community is growing, right?
Yes.
Every single day, the Formula One community in space just gets bigger, and it blows my mind the types of people getting involved in the sport. By and large, in part to Drive to Survive, I know a lot of people got their first kind of taste of Formula One on that series.
Yes.
Kind of carried it through.
Yes. That's what I say to people when they're like, what you talk about, it looks interesting, but I don't understand it. Then I'll be like, go to Netflix, find Drive to Survive, and then let's talk.
Just last question though. So the cars we saw yesterday, when we start the season officially, we mustn't be expecting to see the exact same cars.
There will be changes, I think. But you know what? I think the cars we've seen yesterday versus the cars we saw in Spain, the cars from yesterday and today will be closer to
the actual product.
The actual final product, yes.
Yeah. And what's true is some of the changes we won't even be able to see with just our eye.
Yes, with the naked eye.
There'll probably be something a lot more into the vehicle itself. But Lufefe,
yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're a good man. That's Lufefe. So they're on the show with us, talking to us all things to do with Formula One. He's the founder of MotoZar TV, yeah? And it'll be a live viewing come the 20th. Maybe you send us those details and we can keep putting those out.
Definitely.
As we get closer to
Are we going to go?
Would love that. You know what the truth is about this thing? I have 2 invitations, or not 2, yours being the second. So 2, yes. 2 invitations to a viewing on the 20th of March. Okay. I'm so torn. I'm conflicted. Who do I let down? Who do I let up?
No, I mean, there's still 23 races.
Right?
So
all right, we'll do it.
Don't stress
We'll
about it.
definitely do it going forward. But thank you so much. Send those details, yeah?
All right,
We'd love
we'll
it.
do.
@visionview_SR on Twitter. The podcast available at
Put it,
www.bbsr.co.za. Just fist bump Fair in studio. It's fist of a man who knows his sport, trust me. So many more conversations coming up here on the show today. But what's coming next, you ask? Well, just a bit will be conversation. Talking all things to do with CEO of HM Entertainment and Basadi in Music Awards. That's Loni Modise. She'll be on the phone line with us. And then Innocent Mako, interim MD of Drip Footwear.